Hi, welcome to the Innovation and Entrepreneurship interview series. My name is Jonathan Yubi. We're going to be speaking with some amazing leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs from throughout the Bronx and New York City. This week, we're going to be speaking with Hector Castillo Carvajal from Don Carvajal Café. Thanks for joining us, Hector. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Hector Castillo Carvajal. I am the founder of Don Carvajal Café. I just started calling myself the Chief Espresso Officer CEO. Add a little fun to it. I'm just dabbling into the espresso game, but this is who I am. So I was born in the Dominican Republic, came to the Bronx, New York City when I was 8 years old, and we've been here ever since. So, Afro-Dominican kid, immigrant. And so grew up in the Bronx, went to high school here, and decided to go to college at some point, to add some value into myself. Went to community college. From community college, I went to University of Rochester on the Kaplan Leadership Program Scholarship. And that's where I launched my company, University of Rochester. That's my life of 24 years in an eggshell, and here we go. Honestly, it's one of those things where I tell people I've always been entrepreneurial. I grew up watching my brother be an entrepreneur, and I just enjoyed seeing what he did. You know what I mean? The art of sales and the art of telling a story. Because sales is really telling a story and getting your point across to the point where somebody takes out their wallet. You know what I mean? But I always enjoyed, telling a story. I always enjoyed sales and marketing and things like that. But I was always entrepreneur. I was always into entrepreneurship. I could date it back to this weird story when I was a kid, which sounds super cliche. But there was, when I was in the Dominican Republic, I was 7, almost 8 years old, and there was a big storm that came. It was like high winds, and it knocked down an avocado tree. The avocado tree literally broke in half, and the whole tree was on the floor. And here I go. I go get a bucket. I pluck all the avocados off the tree, whether they were big or ripe or not. It was just, I'm a kid. I don't even know what a ripe avocado looks like or feels like. So I just grab a bunch of avocados, put it in this one bucket, and then I go to like the corner store and I just stand in front of it. Avocados, avocados, dollar each, avocados. And I'm like 7 years old. But I picked that up from the vans that would walk around. Like if you ever been to a developing a country, or as they say, third world country, you see these little vans going around. Oh, we got eggs, we got milk, we got this, we got pineapples. Or you see the guys at the store selling this, we got this, we got that. It's always like that necessity-based entrepreneurship that we get, because there's two types of entrepreneurs that I've learned. There's necessity-based, there's opportunity-based. And I grew up watching those people who were just hustlers, like people who just cook lunch for people in the community and they just sell it by the thing, So I always saw that growing up. You don't really see it like that when you're in like Mexico or Dominican Republic or Colombia, but like there are form of entrepreneurs, to some other level. So always saw entrepreneurship growing up. Then I got to New York City, and I dabbled into some things. Like I used to sell candy on the train. That's a form of entrepreneurship. Never really looked at it like that. Like I was a businessman. I will go to BJ's, I will buy wholesale boxes of fruit snacks, and I will go sell it at a retail price. There was a profit margin. There was a whole shebang. Like it was a real thing. I never really looked at it because I never knew the terms. Then apart from that, I used to buy T-shirts blank, print on them. It was called Dream Chasers clothing brand. And I used to always believe in chasing my dreams. And I started selling shirts and hats. And it was like, I've always done something entrepreneurial. And then when I got the opportunity to learn the business side of it, go to college, learn how to write a business plan, learn how to properly research an industry and the market cap, and who's the main players in the game, and what's the yearly revenue for this industry. Like I got to learn all these things, and I got to kind of fine tune myself as an entrepreneur, and I'm still learning to this day. And I'm about to be 2 years as a business, as an incorporated business, which is crazy. Last night I was having a conversation with somebody about that, because if you follow me on Instagram, which you do, but for the people listening, it's like I will post up at 6 in the morning. What's up, y'all? Time to go hustle. Then at like 9 o'clock, I'm like, cafecito hour. I'm drinking my first cup. So are you? And it's like, yo, don't give up, hustle, grind. And people hit me up like, yo, how are you so motivated and hype and ambitious? And I'm just like, yo, I'm just wired like this. Like I can't explain to you to be driven. I can't explain drivenness. You know what I mean? I can't explain ambition. You just got to have it. You got to do something that you love so much that you wake up in the morning dead broke and you're like, I'm going to go out to work today. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to like not be able to make a penny to make it work. Like, and that sounds insane to everybody. Like, what do you mean you're not making money? You own the company. Like, oh no, when you start, you're making sacrifices. You got to reinvest the money and you got to scale. That's the reality of being an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? So I would say certain things that you need, in my opinion, you need drive, you need ambition, you need to not give up. Like, you never give up, because you will have days where it's just like everything is just wrong. Like, when something goes wrong in the morning, I'm like, you're not gonna have a bad day, Hector. You're not gonna have a bad day. Then I'm in traffic and it's like, I'm gonna be 30 minutes late to my meeting. You're not having a bad day, Hector. You know what I mean? Like, I program myself like, it's okay. We're human. Just hustle, get there, get the job done. Every day ends. Like, you might have a bad day today, but tomorrow you got to depict how you go to bed. You go to bed, chill, reset yourself, wake up in the morning brand new. It's a new day. Whatever happened yesterday's yesterday. If the problem carries into today, reset. Cool. Figure it out. You know what I mean? There's literally companies that just are there to just solve problems. Literally, there's solution-based companies. Yeah, hustle, drive, ambition. Don't give up. You know, you got to be able to pivot as well. You got to be able to. Oh, this went wrong. Okay, let me find a plan B. Plan B didn't go right. Plan C. That's what this entire pandemic has been. It has really shown who's a true entrepreneur, who's a true hustler, and who's not. And some people have evolved out of this. Like, I know people who launched their company in the pandemic, and because they had that tenacity and sacrifice, they were like, "Yo, I'm gonna sacrifice it." You got to be able to have sacrifice too. That's another one. The main thing is to properly do your research. And I'm glad it's you. And I'm glad I'm saying this to you and to the class or the team, because that's something I'm pretty sure you emphasize. Like, you got to do the proper research. Like, you got to really understand what you're about to walk into. You know what I mean? Like professional teams have analysts, like boxers watch fights of their component before they step into the ring with them. You got to really look, you got to look at who's in the ring and what's happening. And that's how business is. You got to understand the industry. Like, okay, you want to get into coffee. Okay. How does it work? Where does it start? Oh, it starts on a farm in a country that's far from here. Okay. What are the logistics to getting that here? Okay, after it gets here, who are the key players of moving that around? After you buy it, what's the process to getting this packaged and distributed? Oh, this distribution, how, you know what I mean? It's like so many steps. You got to really understand what the industry is, how much revenue, how much market cap is, what's market share, who has the main hold in certain pieces, right? And just really understanding it. I think if you understand the game and what's happening right now based on research, you can learn how to launch your business. Like, okay, that's what they're doing. Okay, it's either I want to compete with them or I want to be different. So I'm going to create a whole new segment for myself. Like, I sell organic natural coffee. Am I the first or the last one? No, there's a bunch of other people doing it. What's different? My story, my brand, the way I tell my story, the way I show people how I brew the coffee, how I roast it. That's what makes us different. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all about just honestly the main piece is the research. Research, understand your product, make sure you're making money. Sometimes people launch businesses is like, oh, we're not really making money right now. Like, oh, I'm just gonna risk, I'm not gonna make money for the first year. I'm like, no, you gotta make sure your product has a profit margin. Because if you scale it, then you're just gonna be losing money at a scale. You know what I mean? Like, it just wouldn't make sense. So, doing your research, making sure the product is actually profitable from day one, and the profits you make reinvested into marketing and growing your operations. Um, getting your friends and your locals, your studio, like getting your friends, your colleagues from school or work to support you, and start small. Put a pilot out, test it, give it to people, and tell them, give me your honest feedback. You know what I mean? Give some free product away, like just try it out. And my number one thing that helped me get to where I am was listen to podcasts. I used to listen to podcasts, which is why I'm launching one. But I used to listen to podcasts and podcasts about coffee. I used to listen to podcasts about running a coffee shop, podcasts about coffee farming in Ethiopia, podcasts about coffee farming in Colombia, podcasts about how to properly run a cafe and what profit margin should be like and how to install these machines. And then I used to listen to another one about coffee roasting and how to pour latte art, how to steam milk properly for a cup of coffee. I was like, wait, what? You got to steam the milk properly to make a cup of coffee? Oh yeah, and you also got to make sure you pull the espresso shot to the perfect like ounce or grams, and it has to be a certain temperature in the machine. The water has to be filtered throughout the back. Like it's a whole shebang. And I was like, wow, that's just for a cup. Got it. You know what I mean? Oh, there's different roasts. There's light roasts, there's medium roasts, there's dark roasts, there's blends, there's single origin. You know what I mean? It was such a thing for me. So that's why I emphasize research. And I'm giving all these examples because these are all the things I found out on my own. Just listening, reading, watching videos on YouTube. Those little things will do so much because it will give you a perspective of who's already in the industry and what they're seeing and experiencing. Um, so yeah, it goes back down to, deep research, understanding, also is properly incorporating your company, making sure I mean, I properly filed mine, you know what I mean? But there was little things that I didn't know, like, oh, you have to make a publication in a newspaper, one that's a daily one and one that is a weekly one for like 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. Properly, having a lawyer to call and properly doing the things like we make cold brew and different products, and I would reach out to local services like, okay, you know does this need to be pasteurized? What does the food and what does the ingredients look like? Do I need a nutrition label for this kind of product? And just try to stay within legal bounds. It's not like the FDA is like looking for you, you know what I mean? But if they knock on your door one day, you want to be ready, and you want to make sure you're doing everything like that. You know what I mean? And it's not like I've had much of a negative downturn with that. It's just stuff that I know it would be beneficial for people, because a lot of people start and they don't really incorporate their company. Everything's through their personal bank account, and then at some point, it's like COVID-19 happens, and then it's like, oh, you had a payroll? Okay, can you prove your payroll? We'll give you the PVP loans. And it's like, oh no, this is all like unincorporated. I run this through my personal account and nobody's on the books. Oh, we can't do nothing for you. You know what I mean? There's nothing we could do for you. What's your EIN? Oh, what's an EIN? Oh, employer identification number. You know what I mean? So, properly doing your research, incorporating your company properly. If you have any questions, there's a bunch of local resources that will help you through it. You know what I mean? There's something called Start Small Think Big. They help you with free legal, marketing, and finance help. They will literally tell you if your product is profitable or not through their finance help, right? You need marketing assistance. You don't know how to dabble into the social media because some of us got started late, right? They will help you with that. You need to draft a contract between you and a supplier because you need them to function. Then they will do that for you pro bono. There's also things like the incubator space. I'm based out of an incubator space in the South Bronx. I can't afford a whole office, but I could afford a desk that costs $350 a month. Not bad. You know what I mean? Like I can't work from home. I come here and I just lock in. I'm the type of person that needs a separation between home and work. You know what I mean? And this is where I come and focus. It's like the library at school versus your room. It's two different environments, So probably doing the research, incorporating yourself, making sure you're doing everything legally, pay your taxes, getting a space where it works for you. And yeah, that's what I would say. Those are like the main things that I wish in the beginning I was like, this is what it is. And I had those things in mind. It just took me longer to execute them because I'm running all over the place for business.